Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Patience is like sowing a seed in barren soil. No applause, no glory, only silence and waiting. In the early days, we must endure the weight of time, the restlessness like scorching sunlight, and moments of wanting to give up when no sprout has yet emerged. Yet, in that very bitterness, our will is forged like steel in fire, and steadfastness becomes a quiet strength that carries us forward. Then one day, that seed blossoms. That is when the sweet fruit appears. Success arrives quietly, yet it fills the heart with profound joy, like the fragrance of honey spreading after long rains. Looking back, we realize it was those difficult moments that shaped the beauty of achievement. Patience is not meaningless endurance. It is the bridge that leads us from a harsh present to a radiant future. So, trust and persevere, for every slow step today is a piece of the puzzle for a sweet harvest tomorrow. We are asleep. Our life is a dream. But sometimes we wake up just enough to know we are dreaming. Ludwig Wittgenstein. Life, with its whirlwinds of work, habits, and ceaseless desires, is like a long dream where we chase reflections and forget our true essence. We live, but often merely drift, like sleepwalkers in the bustling stream of life, acting on instinct without truly awakening. Yet, sometimes, in a rare moment, perhaps during a crisis, a profound remark, or a quiet midnight pause, we wake up a little. That moment is like a faint ray of light piercing thick fog, enough to reveal, all this time, we were only dreaming. That is the moment of awakening, unveiling a deeper dimension of life where we no longer play roles but touch the truth within our hearts. The dream of life is not wrong, but if we know we are dreaming, we can consciously rewrite that dream to be more meaningful. Awakening, even if fleeting, plants a seed of change, guiding us toward a deeper, freer life. Change your pleasures, but do not change your friends. Voltaire. Pleasures, hobbies, or passions in life are like flowing waters, ever moving. As time passes, people grow, experience more, and what once enthralled us may fade or be replaced by new fascinations. Changing pleasures is natural. Like seasons shedding leaves, the old falls to make way for the new. Yet true friends, those who have shared our laughter, tears, and silent moments, are like ancient trees, steadfast amidst the changing forest. They need not share all our tastes, but they remain a profound part of our soul. Changing pleasures may enrich life, but carelessly changing friends risks losing the precious bonds woven through time. True friendship doesn't demand we stay the same. It's about walking through life's changes together, holding fast to trust and connection. So, renew yourself, explore new horizons, but cherish the friends who've weathered life's storms with you, for they are the unchanging anchor in a world of flux. The lack of books is the height of misery. Benjamin Franklin. Books, for ages, have been the lamp illuminating the dark corners of understanding, the bridge linking past, present, and future, and the treasure of humanity passed down through generations. Without books, we live in a house with no windows, surrounded by walls of ignorance, unable to see the vast world beyond. This misery is not material poverty, but a poverty of the soul and mind. Without books, the intellect starves. The soul finds no refuge. Dreams are easily stifled by narrow limits. A person without books is like a traveler in the dark, without a torch, lost, stumbling, easily swallowed by the shadows. In contrast, a single good book can open an entire new sky, Each page is a door, each line a breeze, carrying us to lands our feet have never touched. Thus, lacking books means losing the chance to rise, to enlighten oneself, and to connect with humanity's wisdom. And conversely, cherishing books grants us the key to unlock life's infinite treasure. Most people live their lives in quiet desperation. Henry David Thoreau. On the surface, many lives seem serene. Constant smiles, stable jobs, smooth social chatter. Yet, beneath that facade lie undercurrents of loneliness, anxiety, buried dreams, and unspoken longings. Quiet desperation is the most painful kind, for it has no cry, no visible tears, only silent sobs swallowed back into the heart. People often choose silence, fearing judgment, not wanting to burden others, or simply no longer believing anyone can truly understand. They live, but often merely exist each day a loop, where hope is slowly worn away by time. Yet, in recognizing this, we can spark change when we dare to admit that everyone carries hidden shadows. We judge less and open our hearts more. A sincere question, a warm embrace, or simply true listening can be a small candle dispelling someone's darkness. Sometimes, what's needed isn't grand advice, but the feeling of, I am not alone. We would be better off if we built fewer walls and more bridges. D. Pire. Walls here are not just bricks, but prejudices, defenses, rigid egos, or fear of being hurt. We build walls to protect ourselves, to keep distance from the unfamiliar, to shield against pain. But ironically, those walls imprison us in loneliness and division. A bridge, however, symbolizes connection when we open our hearts, listen, understand, and share. A bridge doesn't just link physical shores, but connects souls, values, and people who once seemed strangers. Without bridges, people live close, yet feel distant. They speak, but don't truly hear. They coexist, but don't understand. If we spent less effort building barriers and more heart-building bridges, life would be so much warmer and richer. Bridges let us see the world through others' eyes, feel shared joys and pains, and grow in love and compassion. Before marriage, I had 6 theories about raising children. Now, I have 6 young children and no theories at all. Lord Rochester. Yet, stepping into the real journey of parenthood, everything becomes vivid, chaotic, and follows no textbook. 6 children are not 6 formulas. Each is a unique world with their own emotions, personalities, and unpredictability. Solid theories are tested by midnight cries, innocent yet tricky questions, and moments that leave parents both exhausted and melted. This saying doesn't diminish the role of knowledge, but highlights that real experience is the greatest teacher. Parenting isn't about executing a perfect plan, but a journey of learning, erring, and growing with a patient and loving heart. Perhaps the most beautiful lesson is this: stepping out of ideals lets us truly live our role, not as perfect teachers, but as humans who love and learn daily from their children. To know how to prove it is worth twice as much. Baltasar Gracián. In life, many people know they have knowledge, grasp issues, even understand deep truths. But knowing alone is not enough. Knowledge, if unexpressed or unproven, is like a gem hidden in darkness, precious but invisible. Knowing how to prove is the ability to bring knowledge into the open, turning understanding into a force that inspires, persuades, and leads others. It's about explaining logically, presenting clearly, and demonstrating through real actions. Someone who both knows and can prove is like a lamp that shines brightly and lights the way for others, not just a faint glow in a hidden corner. In study, work, or any field, this double value makes a clear difference. One who only knows may be quietly brilliant, but one who knows and proves can influence, lead, and turn knowledge into achievement. Instead of just amassing knowledge, hone the art of proving it. Speak clearly, write coherently, argue tightly, act consistently. Then, wisdom is no longer just yours. It becomes a guiding light, radiating value manifold. Proclaim joyful messages in 100 tongues, but let bad news be revealed carefully. Shakespeare. Every kind word, every positive story is like a cool drop, watering the parched souls of others. 2. Proclaim in 100 tongues emphasizes that joy should be shared boundlessly, spread far and wide. In contrast, bad news requires careful revelation. Bad news, if amplified or shared thoughtlessly, can spark panic, misunderstanding, or hurt. Like a small flame, if uncontrolled, it can flare into a wildfire. Thus, bad news should be conveyed accurately, responsibly, to the right person, at the right time, in the right way. This isn't about hiding truth, but showing wisdom and compassion in delivering it. This message reminds us, in communication, not just content, but the way we convey it shapes its impact. Joy should be spread to warm others' hearts, while sorrow or bad news should be shared gently and empathetically to lessen harm rather than amplify it. That is the art of those who know how to speak, listen, and most importantly, inspire with wisdom. I would trade all I know for half of what I don't know. René Descartes. What we know is but a grain of sand on the vast beach of truth. The more we learn, the more we see the ocean of knowledge is boundless, with the unknown always far outweighing what we grasp. To trade all I know isn't to deny the value of current knowledge, but to willingly let go of ego pride in what we know to open the door to new learning. This attitude marks true wisdom, not resting smugly on the peak of one's knowledge, but gazing humbly at the vast sky of understanding, like a lifelong student. And just half of what I don't know could transform a person's entire worldview. For new knowledge opens fresh perspectives, challenges old beliefs, shakes rigid frameworks, and in doing so, makes us wiser, deeper. Spending time is virtue, strength, and humility. Letting time slip away is cowardice and crime. Quevedo. Spending time isn't just managing schedules or working hard. It's a deliberate act, showing virtue in valuing each moment, strength in self-control, overcoming procrastination and temptation to live true to what matters, and humility. For we know time isn't ours. We can only use it wisely. Those who spend time well live meaningfully, sowing each moment like seeds in the soil of the future. In contrast, letting time slip away in unconsciousness, procrastination, or indifference is a silent, cruel waste of opportunity. Each moment lost cannot be reclaimed, and letting it pass without value is a crime against our own life. It is cowardice, for we avoid action. It is waste, for we let time slip through our fingers like sand. Time doesn't wait. It's a river ever flowing. Those who steer skillfully will reach great shores. Those who drift aimlessly will be swept away, directionless. Spending time is a noble choice, a choice to live actively, deeply, and responsibly with our own life. Experience is a disease with the lowest risk of contagion. Oliverio Girondo. We can hear countless pieces of advice, read thousands of stories, but only by stumbling, rising, hurting, and learning do lessons become true experience etched in our minds. It's like you can't catch the feeling of a burn just by hearing about fire. You must touch the flame, even once, to know heat. Thus, experience has a low risk of contagion, not because people don't share, but because we often must live it ourselves to believe and change. This is both a limit and a natural law of growth. Listen to those who've gone before, for they've paid the price for their lessons, and at the same time, be ready to embark on your own journey of experience, for no one can fully pass on experience to you. Ultimately, maturity isn't about receiving everything from others, but balancing shared wisdom with lessons we etch ourselves. Experience isn't how long you live, but all the good things you learn. Jairo Fowbier Pabón. Many think a long life or many years automatically mean more experience. In truth, time is just the backdrop. How we live and learn shapes the value of our life. Some live 70 years, repeating the same old habits, closed to new lessons their experience, confined to a small frame. Others live 20 years, but each day they observe, listen, learn from failures, cherish the good their experience as rich as a lifetime. The good things you learn aren't just book knowledge, but life lessons. How to love, overcome adversity, value small moments. Each positive lesson is a shining jewel, building the true treasure of a person's experience. The length of life matters less than the depth we live it. Time's passage is beyond control, but learning and growing from the good is a choice we can make daily. So, live not just to count years, but to make each moment a precious lesson. The error of our age is that people don't want to be useful, only important. Churchill. In the whirl of social media, spotlights, and superficial success, many chase the feeling of being noticed, being admired, rather than quietly striving to be useful to others and society. Important is standing center stage, seen, applauded, but useful is creating real value, even if no one knows your name. A useful person may not make headlines, but they quietly make life better each day. The devoted teacher, the steadfast worker, the listening friend. Meanwhile, craving importance without a foundation of usefulness leads to illusion, empty show, or actions meant to dazzle rather than contribute. The irony is, true importance comes from being useful. When you create value for others, you naturally become significant, not because you sought the spotlight, but because you earned recognition. Chasing importance without contribution yields only fleeting attention, like stage lights that soon fade. Lack of intelligence, poverty, and lack of education are the three main factors of crime. Auchner. First, lack of intelligence here isn't just natural intellect, but the ability to think logically, control emotions, and assess consequences. Without clear judgment, people are easily swayed, provoked, or choose wrong paths to solve problems, especially in stress or desperation. Poverty is fertile ground for many crimes to sprout. When basic needs like food, shelter, and safety aren't met, people can fall into despair or feel forced to survive by any means. In such circumstances, the line between right and wrong becomes fragile. Many don't commit crimes out of evil, but because they're pushed to a dead end. Lack of education is the deepest root. Education doesn't just provide knowledge, but shapes character, morals, and critical thinking. Without proper education, people lack tools to discern right from wrong or build futures through honest paths. It's no coincidence that crime rates are often higher where education is underdeveloped. These three factors don't exist in isolation. They intertwine and amplify each other. Poverty leads to limited education. Lack of education traps people in poverty. Lack of intelligence leads to poor choices, and together they can push some toward crime. To truly reduce crime, punishment alone isn't enough. We must address the roots, improve education, create opportunities to escape poverty, and foster human intellect. This is the sustainable path to a safer, more humane society. False humility is the most respectable lie, Chamfort. Humility, a noble virtue, reflects true self-awareness, respect for others, and recognition of our limits. But false humility is mere pretense, hiding pride, ambition, or personal motives beneath. Here, the most respectable lie suggests that false humility is often accepted, even praised, because it appears as courtesy, politeness, or socially acceptable expression. It's safe, harmless, and gains favor thus, a refined lie cloaked in moral guise, obscuring the truth within. This reminds us, true humility's value lies not in others' perception, but in honesty with oneself. Real humility is recognizing our worth and limits without show or concealment, not using it to manipulate others' emotions. In all virtues, honesty with oneself is the highest value, for no outward refinement can replace inner truth. Faith is believing in what we don't see, and the reward is seeing what we believe, St. Augustine. Faith doesn't rely on evidence or tangible proof. It's an inner flame lighting the way when all is murky and unclear. Because it's unseen, faith demands patience, steadfastness, and sometimes courage, for walking by faith is stepping into the invisible, guided only by heart and will. The reward of faith is seeing what we believe, though not always as we expect. It may come as opportunities, experiences, inner peace, or tangible outcomes we hadn't foreseen. The key isn't immediate proof, but the journey of trusting and enduring, which opens doors to wonders mere reason cannot create. This saying is both encouragement and reminder. Faith isn't just waiting, but living with that belief. When we dare to believe in the unseen, we dare to act, hope, and persevere, and the reward comes not just as visible results, but as a deeper, stronger soul. In other words, faith turns the unseen into possibilities we create, and that process is a miracle no mere logic can grasp. The wise should not shy from governing the state, for refusing to help those in need and yielding to the unworthy is a crime, Epictetus of Phrygia. The wise understand power isn't a tool for themselves, but a means to uplift the unfortunate and sow goodness in society's heart. Refusing to help, yielding to the unworthy, may seem cautious, but is a silent crime, for inaction and surrender can be as cruel as direct harm. This saying paints a vivid picture of duty and ethics, where courage, wisdom, and compassion converge, where each person is not just a citizen, but a light for the community. It urges us to see that true wisdom isn't just personal insight, but using that insight to better lives, help others, and uphold justice.